Welcome to the Travel Plus Loyalty podcast series. Your host today is Henrik Olsen.
Experience when you sit on the AirLounge that you have more space, and that's what it allows when it doesn't have the recline function, and we have stripped down those mechanisms that are not needed. We could actually carve out more space for the passengers to move.
You just heard Kristos, who is the development manager for customer experience and design at Finnair. He talks about the new Finnair business class, the AirLounge, that is a quite unique and new product. There is several new and innovative things in the design and function of that seat. One of the most remarkable things is that it's a business class seat that does not recline, but you can still enjoy a flat bed. Learn more about this new Finnair business class in this interview made in Helsinki a couple of hours before we board a Finnair Airbus A330 heading to New York. On the way to New York, we tried out their new business class seat, and on the way back, we tried their new premium economy seat. The interview starts by learning about the process and how Finnair decided to implement a non-reclining business class seat. Let's get started with the interview. Welcome to the podcast, and can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you. I'm Kristos Mavrostomos. I'm development manager for customer experience and design working at Finnair.
Thank you very much for that. And a little bit more about your roles and responsibilities regarding this upgrade of the new products of premium traveling for Finnair. You have both made changes on the ground and in the air. Can you tell us a little bit about your role in that?
When I started at Finnair now roughly 4 years ago, I was almost immediately put into the project to help in developing it. The whole, let's say, renewal started already a year before I joined, and it's the cabin design renewal was led by David Kondo, and then I was assisting in that project. So it involved the cabin itself, but also at the same time we started to look at the lounges, that how we can really tie in those two different worlds into one, and then we identified that when we are redesigning the cabin, we should also look at everything that happens in the aircraft, from equipment to service and food and dining. And then my role has really, maybe the key role has been looking after the equipment together with the cabin design. But we did work kind of as a team on the lounges, on the cabin design, and then on equipment. But really my responsibility area has been the equipment, and then for example, the new textiles, which some are still coming, and then the Iittala tableware.
So part of this responsibility you had, it's a part of this 200 million euros investment to, as I think I've heard David or the CEO quote, to create the ultimate customer experience, right? So and especially out of Helsinki, how do we experience that as a passenger?
It starts from the ground, even though it's a different project, the lounge development. But that's where it really starts, and that was the first. Now we're sitting here in the Platinum Wing on our non-Schengen side. So this new lounge was the first kind of physical evidence of the new Finnair look and feel, the direction where we want to take Finnair. It's about creating this kind of more warmer, approachable environment that has a lot of, like here where we are sitting now, there's a lot of blue tones, which is of course our color. There's a lot of natural materials, and it's this kind of home-like feeling that we want to create. And then it continues all the way to the aircraft. That when you step in, you see this galley, the kitchen. When you enter, we wanted to that also become like a welcoming space rather than a typical kitchen or aircraft galley. And then from there, when you go to the business class, you really see that this is the same atmosphere continues, and I can find my kind of own nest from there, which is in the AirLounge sheet. But the cabin design project it has been its own, and investment is about that. It's about the long haul experience where we really develop the cabin into what we believe is a modern premium experience. It includes also adding a new cabin class. So for us, the new premium economy cabin class. So we totally renewed business class, added a new cabin class, and then also refreshed economy. So we looked at the whole aircraft. And then at the same time, we having two generations of aircraft, or we have the A330s and we have the A350s, very different in their look and feel, and we wanted to make them the same. We want to harmonize our long-haul fleet so that every passenger has on every long-haul flight the consistent experience, the Finnair experience.
The Finnair, of course, and yes, you mentioned about the A330s and the A350s. There are some design or physical restrictions on it. For example, in the A330, there's the overhead bins and so forth. They are gone in the A350s in a similar way. So there's a little bit more space feeling, I guess, in the A350. But otherwise, it's still consistent. And you're mentioning that you will actually have refurbished the entire fleet in 2 years. So is that still holding up? Because that's quite ambitious to do that. Is that still holding up the plan?
World has changed a lot during the past years, and we're still in a kind of uncertain period, but we still believe and see that it's possible to do the rollout as planned.
Okay. So as long as passengers keep coming and the world are opening up, then the plan with the refurbishing will hold. And you mentioned we're sitting here in the refurbished platinum wing of your lounge. Next door is the business class lounge. What are the design story behind that? Because we see still the blue colors, as you mentioned. We see some copper. We see some of the good lighting coming in. What are the design story behind those elements in the lounges?
There are multiple things that we considered and wanted to bring in. You mentioned the blue color. That's for us represents kind of the premiumness. It's of high quality, and that's something that you can really see here on the platinum wing, which is for the top tier passengers and customers. And then it's on the business class lounge. We also see elements of blue, but we have that kind of, since it's more open space, it's larger space than the platinum wing lounge. There's you see a bit lighter colors as well. But all in all, in both these lounges, we wanted to offer different types of, cater different types of needs, since every customer has their own needs and kind of their time that they want to spend in the lounge. It could be only 10 minutes, grab a coffee, or it could be a longer session, and that's why we have in the platinum wing the sauna. We kept that from the previous lounge, but really that there are different type of seating options for different types of needs. So you can have your own private meeting, or you can sit on a kind of a long table and socialize.
Yeah, and we see also the new stuff about the restaurant servings or like servings that you have, that you actually get your servings to the table and so forth. So there's also a new interesting addition on that. So what we are coming through in a couple of hours from now, I'm going to try the AirLounge seat for the first time. Congratulations on looking at the stunning pictures of looking at on the long haul fleet. It looks really promising. So they're quite unique, those AirLounge seats. Basically, how does that idea about introducing a business class seat that doesn't recline, how does this came up, this idea?
At Finnair, we want to be innovative, or we are an innovative airline, and we want to be also bold. And this was a very early concept that was seen. This AirLounge seat back in, was it 2017 or 18? Yeah. And that's kind of where the idea sparked, that can the seat be the aircraft business class seat something else? And really that kind of started to connect with the idea of this home-like environment where you have more lounge type of seatings that can we somehow bring that into the aircraft through this concept seat that we saw. And then David Kondo then was taking that further, and then it became a real seat at this point.
So basically we're sitting in a similar kind of chair here in the lounge, and taking that idea and making it from home basically and all the way to the airplane. So you have this seats, and you have some pillars with a new textile, so forth, that will help you find a good precision on the seat. So when I'm trying this seat out here in a couple of hours, do you have some tips that I should be aware of on finding the perfect precisions to sit, to lounge and to sleep?
Well, now that you mentioned that we're sitting in this kind of lounge type of seats, that you already feel that, okay, you have space around you. It's not really like a tight, narrow seat. And this is what you will experience the first thing you will experience when you sit on the AirLounge, that you have more space. And that's what it allows when it doesn't have the recline function, and we have stripped down those mechanisms that are not needed. We could actually carve out more space for the passengers to move. So it's this similar shape that we are now sitting in, this kind of 3D contour curved seat. So you can really you can recline in a different way. You can even lift your legs on the seat. You can try to work, be on your side. But what we also, or as a tip for you, maybe that you could try out the pillows and then using the blanket and then the mattress pad when you want to sleep. But just kind of exploring and finding your own position that works for you.
So it's adapt basically because of the way it's been designed. It's adapt. You can find your own special seating habits on the AirLounge seat. And then use the pillows and blankets and take your legs up and so forth. Whatever fits basically. Okay, so that's good. That's going to be interesting. And moving on to another part of the experience flying, right? So the tableware. You also changed the tableware. It's to a new setup. Also following again from the lounge. So see some of the examples here in the lounge. So that's also designed for the flying experience a little bit again. Coming from home, but so you see a little bit the same as well, but still having this kind of unique tableware. You replaced some very historic and unique tableware. That was a bold move, I think, as well. Some words about the decision and what it came into mind when you have to design the new, because that's definitely your area on the tableware side. So how did this design process came out?
You're referring to the Ultima Thule, I assume. We are keeping the champagne glass from the Ultima Thule collection. It's one of our most beloved items. It's a heritage piece for us. But we also felt that, yes, that there's time for change as well, that we want to bring in a new tableware collection that really supports our idea of this modern premium experience and different type of dining possibilities, and also, again, bringing something that you might feel that, okay, this could also be at my home, but it's actually now here I'm eating here in an aircraft, on a seat that also could almost be in my living room. So those are the emotions that we like to evoke in people. But about the tableware design, so the main thing, in addition to bringing this kind of home-like but still premium tableware, was to also reduce the weight and to bring variety for our chefs that work for Finnair Kitchen, that they could create then different types of menu concepts in a bit more freely than before.
And you mentioned weight. Because sustainability have quite a big place in everything these days as well. So how did you thought about sustainability when you come to do the design process?
With the tableware, we were actually one way of managing is this is really straightforward. We were cutting corners, so we had more rectangular plates before, and now they're round. So that's one obvious way. But additionally, we kind of pushed the manufacturer that we've been using for decades. That is their way of reducing the weight, but still keeping the same durability. And by very much focusing on the details, on the profile of each of those tableware items, we could then reduce the wall thickness of those items, and adding a bit of a special ingredient, aluminum oxide, that then makes it more durable, meaning that we can make it lighter, or let's say thinner. That's the way that we could reach roughly 20% lighter weight compared to the previous one. And also then the new cutlery that we will be rolling out next year, they are also lighter than our current cutlery, just the way that they're designed. So we partnered with Iittala and then Harri Koskinen, who did the design for us, and he is very experienced designer, and he was able to do what we hoped from the collection.
So that was on the kitchen or the tableware. Is the weight also, or the weight reduction also on the AirLounge seats when there's no mechanics in the seats? Are they lighter than a traditional large business class seat these days?
It's still in, let's say, in calculation, because we have made a lot of other changes in the, so we can't say like compare apples to apples. But that's the target. But we still need to calculate all things, because we have changed the configurations. We added the premium economy class, so we need to look at in overall. But also, like, there are then elements that are, let's say, pillows and blankets. We are also looking at them. That how can we reduce the weight in those? So it's kind of the overall. But yes, that has been a target. But we haven't yet done all the calculations. We need to see when the whole fleet is rolled out and everything is in place and installed.
But one-to-one business class, the old business class seat with the mechanics and lie flat functionalities compared to the new seat, that I think must be lighter in its product. Of course, when you're having a 3-class airplane now, that is totally lighter. But the seat compared one-to-one, is that similar, or is it slightly lighter?
It's more or less similar in the end.
So you have basically been giving a larger seat, but you have not increased the weight per seat, basically.
Yeah, that was the target, that we don't increase. Yeah. We were aiming to decrease, and by removing kind of the essential, focusing on the essentials, taking out those things that are not needed, but offering more space. So that's kind of then finding the balance of how to make it working seat, safe, comfortable, the best sleep experience, but still keeping kind of the weight all the time in mind. Yeah.
And again, lesser mechanical moving parts, so the maintenance would be probably easier over time for that. I'm looking really forward to trying out that seat on the AirLounge. Also the privacy, because that big cocoon is really giving a lot of privacy. So looking at some of the pictures that you have shared, it basically looks like you cannot see anyone else than yourself when you're sitting down at the seat. We're also going to try the premium economy product. So your new premium product, I'm looking very much forward to that, because I think that is a product quite many will pay for flying. There's a huge trend on that. So when we're coming back home from New York, it's going to be on premium economy. So again, the thoughts on that, designing that, bringing that to life, and also that there is a large competition with premium economy when it comes to other airlines. What are your main thoughts on that?
Compared to the business class seat, well, you mentioned about the privacy. So that's one of the big differences, of course. And then when you have a business class seat where you can have kind of a full flat sleeping position, you have much more movement that you can achieve there. But I think that the premium economy, we achieved a lot with that as well. It's a compared to economy seat, it's a wider seat. It has better, it has good ergonomics. It's comfortable. It has more recline than economy seat, and also that we have it's a separate cabin. With some airlines, it's kind of part of economy, but this is clearly separated from economy. That you really feel that there's this privacy as well, even though less stronger than in business class, but still that you have your own small cabin class, and it's very comfortable. When I've been also flying on it, and it's you will also like it, I'm sure. But we also added the comfort by bringing a neck pillow that you can enjoy during the flight, and and a woven blanket. So here partnered again with Marimekko, so you can see those textiles in business class from Marimekko, and also on premium economy and economy.
So again, the neck one is I've not seen that with other airlines. So that is definitely something that Finnair has the only one doing that. And I think again compared to a typical pillow, that typically something you can use on especially premium economy. So time is running, and we're getting closer to departure. So to round this talk off, a little bit about the Finnair long-haul business. How does that is going here when we are talking June, just before the summer vacation, and in 2022, and how do you see it in the rest of the year evolving?
We see passenger numbers increasing every day, so we see now that it's a curve, upwards curve. Maybe it will become more even in July, but now the maybe even seeing now when you came through the airport, maybe there were already a lot of people there, but we've been experiencing increase in passenger numbers, and also in long-haul business class, and we are very optimistic about it. Of course, we have now pivoted the Asian flights towards USA, but there's also a lot of demand there, so we are very positive about that.
Yeah, and we can see you from looking, let's say, outside in to Finnair that you are expanding your network. Of course, when we know Asia is still not open, but we see you open up more routes and more frequencies on that part. So how many of your long-haul fleets approximately is operational these days?
I would say it's roughly 80% at the moment. You probably read about the wet leasing, so we have been able to kind of help our partners, but the ones that we are flying ourselves, it's around that, between 80 and 100. So.
And with that positive note, I think it's really good to hear that you are getting up there, and we are seeing business returning, and you're gaining new markets. Then thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to trying the products and see how it is in the real life.
Thank you, and I'm sure you will enjoy both business and premium economy.
Thank you. This means that we are in the end of this episode of the Travel Plus Loyalty Podcast. Thank you for listening, and safe travel.